All right, all right, all right. Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you so very much for being here. This is another episode, show, chat, Talking Tech with Ty, and it is our founder series. I am more than excited. Well, I'm always excited to be here with our speaker today, Siam Hossain, who is a founder at Algorizin. So your girl can talk. So I'm just gonna stop right now and let him introduce himself. Sam, please introduce yourself and welcome to Talking Tech with Ty.
Hey, thank you for doing this. This is so awesome. I love, as I said, I love your logo and your branding and what you're doing. Um, so this is Siam, and we are building Algorizin. It's a career bootcamp primarily focusing on helping the immigrants and international students in the US. We help them land their first jobs, help them with interview prep, immigration counseling, and all that stuff.
Excellent. So thank you so much for giving us that information. And everyone that is here in this chat, I hope that you are really thinking about the fact that there are all types of people. There's more diversity in this country, and we need to think about the many and innumerable learning paths that everyone has to their success here in America, whether it be professional and personal. So, Algorithm is an online end-to-end career boot camp for immigrants in the United States. They learn hands-on technical skills by working with industry experts. They get immigration support and become polished to break through in the U.S. job market. And to me, it doesn't get any better than that. I think it is outstanding the work that you're doing, and I'm really happy to have you here, Siam. So let's get into it. Why algorithm? Like, who are you? Why did you decide you wanted to do this? Like, talk to us, please, and thanks.
Yeah, no. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm thinking like, where do we start? Because the starting is, it's very difficult to pin down the starting point. I feel like, but I'll try to be as short as possible.
No, take your time,
so,
please.
uh, uh, so, so I would say like, it kind of like started when I came to US for the first time. So I came to US for my master's degree in 2009, and in 2010 I started a Facebook group just to help people from Bangladesh. I'm originally from Bangladesh, to come to US. Like, I had a very hard time choosing US university from Bangladesh. Like, it all seems very opaque, like which universities to apply to. There are more than 5,000. How do I choose? How do I give GRE or SAT? All these things are
Yeah.
very opaque for a newcomer. So after I came here in 2010, I started this Facebook group. It's called Higher Study Abroad, and I was doing my masters, and I was spending my entire kind of like, I don't know, like entire free time beyond my masters on that group. I was so active. I was trying to help others, just to navigate how to come to US and choose the US universities. Um, and then I remember distinctly. So this was in Houston. So I was talking with my mom in a Houston like parking, like a parking garage. Um, I called my mom, and I was like, that group had like 500 members back then in 2010 when I started it. So I was asking my mom that, Mom, I'm helping, like I'm spending all my time in helping all these people, but it's a voluntary kind of initiative. I'm not making any money. It's a Facebook group. What is it in for me? Like, I'm spending so much time every day, like 4 or 5 hours. Was it in for me? So my mom something said something not fully logical, but it really moved me. She said that, how long did it take for you to like get all this information? So I said that, like, if someone helped me with this counseling, or like just help me with advising, it would save at least 1 year for me. So my mom said that, if you are helping 500 people, then you are essentially moving Bangladesh 500 years ahead. It's not mathematically right, but I was very young, and I took it very seriously in my heart. And from 2010, it kind of like became my mission that every person I meet, I just wanted to save like 1 year.
Talk about moms.
What is that?
That
I think I
is
lost you.
that's outstanding. Don't
Yeah, I think your internet might be a little bit dropping off, a little bit glitchy. Okay, sweet. So yeah, so that's how kind of like uh, can you hear me though? Just making sure that everyone can hear me. Okay, sweet. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, yeah, so that was kind of like the starting point. And when I finished my master's, after I graduated, I had a really hard time landing my first job. So I came here as an F1 student. And then, despite having a master's degree in electrical engineering, which is like a decent, like pretty solid STEM field, it took me almost 10 months to land my first job in the US. So I was doing a lot of like blue collar jobs, worked in gyro stands in New York, and then different restaurants. It took me a really long amount of time to land my first job. Uh, I was essentially, I didn't have a solid professional network in the US. I obviously didn't have any US job experience. So I kind of like went through a lot of struggle myself. And to answer your question, I would say like that was the reason why I started Algorizin. And yeah, I think we're back. By the way, I think you're back.
thank you. Well, thank you for letting me know why you started Algorithm. So I really want to talk about
Have a
where
solid professional network in the
I want to talk about where it
US.
is
I obviously
today
didn't have
as
any US
opposed to
job
where it was
experience.
before.
Uh,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I think you were hearing your voice. You heard some
Yeah,
playback, but
yeah,
I'm
technical
just
difficulty.
wondering where. I'm so sorry
Yeah,
about this. I'm traveling,
all good.
and this is life of a
Sure.
digital nomad.
This
However,
is,
you
I
started
mean,
Algorithm in one place, and where are you today? And I also was saying to you, that don't mess with mom's math. I appreciate mom's math because she inspired you. All right.
oh,
Shout out to all
definitely.
the moms.
That's
But
definitely
where
always.
you started Algorithm from the Facebook group to where it is now, did you
Hmm.
expect this to be a part of the journey? How has it changed?
Hmm. Um, I did not. It's impossible for me to predict the future. I think like I'm just going taking it as it comes, just watching the movie as I say it. No, I think I took it one step at a time. Like when I started doing the Facebook group, right now we have more than 200,000 members. It kind of like taught me a lot of things on building communities. So I initially, as I said, that I started helping people just to come to study in US, but that was a voluntary initiative. And I realized that as much as I love doing that stuff, it's impossible for me to like at the end of the day I wanted to do more of my thing, but I had to also do a job, full-time job, to pay my rent. So I wanted to always make something where I could pay my rent with my like passion project, as I say. So I was looking for some kind of like business model or something which could which could combine all these things. And then I found this awesome, I really love the payment model of income share agreement. Essentially, the students, I can also make it a manageable or sustainable venture
Mhm.
while also letting the international students or like helping them because they obviously cannot pay upfront. I have been an international student before, so the financial constraints and immigration constraints are too hard. So I think like definitely the experience in running the Facebook group gave me more maturity or just on like running a more sustainable business, like being mission focused but also sustainability focused, that I have to be able to sustain the mentors, sustain the cause. So yeah, I would say like that's, I don't know, did I answer your question?
You did, but I thank you for that because here on Talking Tech with Ty, I am huge in community, and you talked about your community building. You talked about your mother providing the motivation and the inspiration to make it sustainable and make it something, grow it from a Facebook group to what it is today. And that's what community does. But I love what you just mentioned about the income sharing agreement, because there was a bit of chat on LinkedIn. Love you, LinkedIn. Over the last 2 weeks about income sharing agreements specific and respective to programs like this, tech education or job training programs. And the person who actually had started this dialogue on LinkedIn, I'll be speaking with them next week. But I think that it is very important to get into the fact that income sharing agreements or ISAs can be very, very good things for people. And it can provide them a way where there is no way to start, you know? So I'd like to get into that a little bit more, since you mentioned that that is something that allowed you to not only take a passion project and make it something full time and make it sustainable, but make it applicable for more people to enter into the program and providing them with inroads from their home countries to their new home here in America. So if you could tell us, the phases that you went through with the income share agreement and how you actually help your learners today utilizing an ISA, I'd appreciate that. And thank you for your patience, Siam, and everyone else in the audience when I was having technical difficulties. This is the world we live in, and I'm grateful for your support. I see you in the chat. Hey, y'all. Hey. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we started. I mean, Algorizin as a like as an entity started in 2020. So we just hit the pandemic, and I had a lot of my friends who are in H-1B visa. I don't know, maybe the audience might know what an H-1B visa is. It's a lot like very common employment based visa in US, and I had a lot of my friends in H-1B visa who kind of like got fired, or like essentially the companies couldn't afford it. It was COVID 2020, like I think like June or July. Um, and then I thought that there will be essentially like a mayhem coming in the next couple of months with essentially like jobs. Like a lot of the international students in our Facebook group were also reaching out to me saying that, oh shoot, I'm just graduating, what should I do? I came with all my dreams in US, and I might have to just leave US. So we started our first cohort in September with 8 students, and they were uh, like almost all of them were income share agreement. We found one student who was still willing to pay upfront, but that's how, I mean, I just have been following the bootcamp market for a while. I've been inspired by a lot of these Lambda School or Career Karma, all these boot camps.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, maybe I can do something for the international students. So we actually started full blown with ISA, like in our first cohort,
Okay.
with students. And I mean, it was the first time, so I wasn't thinking of taking too many students in, because at the end of the day, ISA like is just the starting point, because we have to also follow through with our commitment that, okay, like, can we actually land these people jobs in this COVID era?
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad to say that so we started in September, and the students graduated in March 2021 last year. And then within 2 months of graduation, 100% of the student landed jobs. So I was like, okay, we have hit the nail, and I know that we have something working. So after that, I started kind of like being more confident that we can actually help the students. So
What an outstanding feeling that must have been to take something from the concept and then implement it and then see the efficacy of it actually affect and impact the transformation of people's lives. I think that's outstanding. And thank you again for seeing a need, starting something to assist the community and being very grassroots, understanding that you had been through this and it was difficult. So being a human being, eliciting humanity and writing down the steps to share first and growing it from there. I think it's outstanding. And that's why I like to feature founders like you, Siam. Now I want to get into more of your, I don't want to say your qualifications, because you're on this planet, you're qualified. You don't need any qualifications to be born and to be here and take up space and be loved and cared for. I don't believe in all of that. However, you are someone who navigated this entire process. You created this along the way. We've been hearing about it, but you also matriculated to an executive position at T. Rowe Price, did you not?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell us about that, because I think it's important to take people along the journey and realize that here you
Mhm,
are, a successful international student, now a successful contributor to the American
mhm,
economy and America as a whole. And here you are continuing to matriculate into a position of esteem, providing a certain amount of wealth, security, and stability, but
mhm,
still you decided that this is great, but I
mhm,
also need to do this. So take us along on that journey of how,
mhm,
you went to
mhm,
this position, executive position at T. Rowe Price,
mhm,
and what made you decide to come back around to really sink in
mhm.
with Algorithm.
Sure, sure, sure. No, that's a very good question. So essentially, like after I was saying that I graduated with my master's in 2012, and then I had this very difficult period of 10 months. I don't know, the users probably, like users means like listeners probably can relate. On the, like, international students have a very serious time crunch, and they have to leave the country unless they land a job within a certain amount of time period. It's kind of like a ticking bomb where you are trying to manage your finances, but your time is also ticking, and you have to essentially land a job, or else you lose whatever you have gained until this time, like with your education, which is, it doesn't make sense for me, but anyway, that's a different conversation. So I was very lucky to have a mentor who kind of like taught me on how to just learn coding and just do iOS development. That time, like, iPhone applications were very popular. 2012, iPhone was not as big as it is today. And also the iOS ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem was still newer. So I was very lucky to find a mentor who kind of like guided me with the initial phase. And essentially, I would say that when I was doing the gyro stand job, I was making like working 10 hours a day, and I was making like 60 hours like in the whole day.
Yeah.
And then after I started the job in Tiro Price, within 3 years, I was making the same amount of money within 1 hour. I'm not saying it as a pride, but just
No, no,
seeing the.
no.
Hmm,
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear this. So you don't have to preface and say, "Oh, it's not a pride thing." No, go ahead on talking tech with Ty. I want you to boast, because I want people to understand that you could have stayed right where you were and been comfortable,
hmm.
but you made a decision of what the impact you wanted to have. So okay, I got to pull it back. I get excited, but continue.
Okay.
So in 1 hour, you were making what you were making the past 3 years. Tell us more.
So yeah, so I realized the power of tech, essentially, like in this era, the same with I think, like as I say, like tech is the electricity of our generation. It's the foundational layer of the next generation. So it's almost like if you want to give someone a magic wand, this is the magic wand of our generation. You just give them the magic wand, and within 2 or 3 years, they will like literally have so much growth in their career that it's intangible to have that kind of speed in any other industry. It's not good, bad, I mean, that's a different discussion. But uh, as an immigrant, I felt like tech really empowered me, like, and I'm very grateful for that kind of opportunity. And then obviously I was also very hardworking. I had to work hard because I had to like make sure that my visa status is like OPT extension or H1B. I'm not kicked out of the country. I always had this fear that if I do any mistake, I am out.
Yeah.
So I had to, even when I was in Tiro Prize, I was working, I think, like 80 hours weeks, like easily. Like the work was small, but I was just scared, So I had to just work extra hard to save my ass. I don't know how else to say it. And but I think it paid off. My manager and my team was very like super helpful, super supportive. They applied for my green card. They essentially helped me with everything. my hard like definitely my hard work paid off. And I think like all the like whenever you join a company, the rise automatically happens if you're like putting your work, and if you're like genuinely sincere and trying to create value. So I think that came kind of as a byproduct, but yeah.
Excellent. And I mean, that's great to hear. But you mentioned how in 2020, with the devastation and disruption that COVID brought upon us, this is when you decided that you wanted to really
Hmm.
grow Algorizin. So
Hmm.
were you still in this full-time role at T. Rowe Price?
Good
And then
question.
what what was really the catalyst? Like we can say COVID, but
Hmm.
is there any specific story that someone that reached out to you, someone in the Facebook group, seeing what you were seeing, what was really the impetus to say, you know what,
Hmm.
I gotta
Hmm.
bring this all together
Hmm.
and leave this life behind and move in another direction?
Mm-hmm. No, actually, I forgot that question. Thanks for reminding. Very important question. Um, so I was definitely learning a lot in T. Rowe Price, and like it's a great institution, great company, and my manager and team, everyone was great. Uh, I was personally feeling this ache that I wanted to help these people for a long time, because I have been doing this Facebook group, just didn't know how to do it as a business. So actually, in 2018 I quit Tiro Price without having any specific idea what I'm going to do next. I was in a great
Sorry,
role.
really quickly,
Sure.
because you mentioned the fear of being kicked out of the country. So I'm making the assumption that by 2018 you had your green card and you had a little bit more ease and stability.
Correct. So by 2018, I have already worked in the industry for around 7 to 8 years. So I tried to save some money, and then I already had my green card. And I always wanted to do something where I could really, again, connect my rent with helping someone. That's the easiest way to put that. Like, because in the
Very
end,
practical.
yeah. So and then essentially I quit my job. Also, another reason was that in the last my entire 20s I was very away from my family. I had like some other personal things, like my grandma, who was kind of almost like my second mom. She passed away, and I couldn't go because I was waiting for my green card. So there are like other like stories which are like, I mean, it cannot be finished in such a small time. But I really felt a big regret that I was away from my parents and all these like family things, like which are, I'll never be able to see my grandma. I'll never be able to forgive myself that I had to stay in US for this like green card. And then I was like, okay, this is enough. I got it. I'm more stable. I'll just go to Bangladesh, which is my home country, and spend 6 months with my family. No work. Like career
That's
is good, good stuff. But I need my, like, my soul more centered. So
yes.
20s was very soul crushing, running all the time. So I took this 6 months break, which was super helpful. I'm very grateful that I was able to do it. So yeah, so 2018 I quit my job. Went to Bangladesh and just spent like I think like 4 to 5 months with my family, not six. Yeah, so 4 to 5 months with my family, and then I came back. I was trying different kind of startup ideas, and I would say like this one is the one which is like clicking, or which is working
Yes.
rent wise, let's say. So
Because we have to connect the rent.
I have to pay the rent.
That's right. And I like that you bring that up, because we have to also remember that in life, and the analogy that they use on planes, put your oxygen mask on first before you go to help other people. If you can't care for yourself and sustain yourself, then you really can't sustainably help other people. So I like hearing the fact that you were very cognizant that you had to pay your rent and
Hmm.
you wanted to provide and you wanted to have that connection, so it had to make sense for you. you know um I have a friend who, go ahead, talk to me,
Yeah. No, no. Just also one point. I think one thing
please.
I have to mention this point is that um, I think a lot of this conversation is happening around me, and I have to say this, that I am just the very small piece of the puzzle. I am just representing a massive amount of group who are working like essentially as hard as me to make this happen, like all the mentors who also have to pay their rent. This has to
Absolutely.
be a sustainable institute. So I am happy that I'm also this thing of putting the oxygen mask, uh, just
Mhm.
I'm just trying to eventually go to a point where I can just create this economy where I can just support all these creators and mentors to support our cause. Because obviously, as a human being, I don't have the personal bandwidth to like do help millions of immigrants. It's just not possible. So just wanted to like really thank my team and everyone who is helping in this cause. Like it's not possible to do it alone. So that's all.
Absolutely. And I thank you as a founder for acknowledging your team because they're your community. And you have some team members in the audience. Hey, Anna, I know Anna's a part of your team. So I just
Yeah,
want to highlight her and say thank you so much for joining us today. And a
she's a
shout out
rock
to
star.
Anna and all the other Algorizin team members in the audience. I also like where you were going with that because my attitude is gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude, and when we were promoting this upcoming chat, I you reposted my original post, and then I placed a comment about the fact that we are all immigrants in this country, if not except for those who are indigenous peoples. And I think a lot of times people like to get away from that. I'm born and raised in New York, but like I fully recognize my immigrant roots. I fully recognize that in the contributions. And people have to realize that there is no nation of America without those consistent, continual contributions. And I want to highlight some immigrant stories that are in the audience right now. I want to thank Tariq Nasim, who wrote really inspiring story. Siam Hossein.
Yeah.
The world needs more people like you with a hardworking attitude and mentality to help others. And there are tons of people like Siam. And that's what he was saying. He doesn't have the personal bandwidth, but if we all do what we can, then we can reach more and more people, which is why it's great to have people like Sam who are clear that they need to have this connection with others and provide solutions. And I'm grateful. My colleague and friend, Patrick Kazadi, you know, he's mentioned that this is a story of a lot of immigrants staying in the country despite the loss of a family member, a story of resilience and hard work. Thanks for inspiring. And I won't get too much into Patrick's personal story because he can say that for himself. But Patrick had a similar situation. Mr. Kazadi and I actually met while we were both in college in Nebraska. He was an international student at the time doing a master's degree while I was doing a bachelor's degree. So your story resonates. Like you said, you're not the only person that was going through this. And we're grateful that you came up with the solution that you have. So, you know, I'm highlighting a few more people in our audience that I know who are international students and were international students and are Americans right now or in that process as immigrants. And we just thank you all for your contributions and for being here. One more, we have Aman. Thank you, Aman. I'm glad to be here too, and y'all showed up. I don't know what's go to the chat, but Siam is saying some really inspiring things, and we're grateful. So now, as we move on, I want to talk more about what you have seen in the landscape of these upskilling and reskilling boot camps. You mentioned that when COVID hit, you realized that since you had been watching that ecosystem, that using the ISA would be a good way to provide more access to a lot of people. So what do you think of the current landscape now that we're a full 2 years and about to start our to start our third full year in the state of a global pandemic? Where do you see the entire landscape of boot camps today, or where do you see it going?
Yeah, I like let me answer this, but also like I also coming to the previous note, like yeah, the all these comments made me also very emotional. Like just like yeah, I wish that I could like really listen to everyone's stories and also have like some like group hug, like immigrant group hug.
We can do it
Group,
right now. We can
yeah,
do
we
it
can
right now.
right now.
Everyone, immigrant group hub on three. One, two, three.
Okay,
Come
because
on. Okay. I didn't need to lean in like that, but y'all know I get excited. So sorry. Go ahead. You were saying after the group hug now, talk to us.
yeah, yeah. So um that's an interesting question. So I see ISA or whatever the boot camp is, the market is happening as just a tool or a solution. My focus is not on the solution. My focus or commitment is to solving the immigrants' problems. So there can be ISAs, there can be new, more buzzwords coming in the next 5 years in this industry. uh, my focus, core focus, will all try to just understand the problems. I'll give you the answer, like maybe my learning wise. So we started as a coding boot camp with ISA, and then we realized that, oh, the students probably do not need help beyond coding. So then we started bringing in lawyers. So now we have a lawyer network who are helping with immigration. And then we started realizing the students said that they do not have any hands-on experience. So now we started partnering up with startups or companies where they're essentially working in these companies. So um, I would say that I am probably not attached to being a boot camp myself, but more towards solving the problem and whatever it takes to solve the problem. So but yes, ISA gives us a great component, or great mechanism to solve it at this stage. But yeah, I think that's it. But feel free to ask me more question on, like, I'm not sure if I actually answered your question.
No, you're
Yeah.
doing fine. Don't worry about it. And you
Okay.
did answer my question. You
Mm,
know, just now in your answer, it made me think of something else in terms of the fact that you're committed to the concerns and the needs of immigrants
mm,
coming to America and them transitioning. So you're not committed to the boot camp, you're committed to them and their needs. So I see you more as the ecosystem to helping with the transition of immigrants from their home countries to their new country, America. So I'm going to be watching and paying attention and seeing Algorizin just grow and maybe partner with more community based organizations, as well as nonprofits and for profit companies to see this ecosystem grow because America is rich, America is wealthy, America is where it is because of its immigrants, not just for its immigrants. I don't want to get too much into enslaved
mm,
Africans and the trajectory, but you
mm,
know America continues to grow and develop because of that. And I don't really use the term immigrant. I'm using it because that is the wording that you use on your site and people
mm.
you reach out to. But we're
Sure.
all we're all native to the planet, And even in
Mm,
my post leading up to this, I said people are international students,
mm,
and then they are citizens.
mm,
We all in a place of transition.
mm,
So I really do like to see the growth of Algorithm and how you're supporting international students in their transition
mm,
from their former home to their new home.
mm.
So that being said,
Uh,
oh, did you want to say something? Talk to me. Let's do it. It's all
yeah,
about the people.
point.
This is what live is, okay?
Point on that. I agree with you. And when we see it, say immigrant, at least when I say it, I do not say it as a political term. I say it as a mindset. So anyone who is, and I love the thing you say, that home country to new country, or anyone who feels that they are, because there is a global change happening, like people are relocating much more than before, any time before in history. Mm,
Exactly.
and this will just exponentially increase in the next couple of years for many global reasons. um, uh, they're all immigrants, like we're all essentially coming under that umbrella, that we're
Mhm.
dislocated from our homes and trying to relocate into a new home. Everyone is part of Algorizin by choice, or like, this is by definition an immigrant system. So that's all I wanted to add.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And once again, this is live, so I don't want to go too much into this, but I do want to continue to highlight present day where we have the situation in Ukraine, where there was an unjustifiable and unprovoked
Mm,
war that is happening or aggression that is happening. And the thing is, most people that live on this planet, because we are all citizens of the world, never expect that they would have to leave their hometowns, and most people don't even. So anyone who is an immigrant, or anyone who decides that they get up and leave their home to travel and go someplace else, that is a very courageous thing. That is a very courageous act, to leave where you are, where you're comfortable, whether you're happy or whatever the case may be, but to leave where you are and travel to another country with a different set of rules and everything like that, that is an act of courage. So I want to highlight that, because yes, like we were talking about, we're living in a global world that is making the world much smaller with the advance of technology. So people need to realize that your neighbor is your neighbor. They could have originated someplace else, but they're still your neighbor on the planet. So I'm really grateful that you're building this ecosystem now, because you let me talk and you shouldn't have done that. You're the guest, you shouldn't have done that. I was wondering if you could highlight some stories about some success stories for Algorithm. On your website you have highlighted those stories, so I was wondering if you could share a couple with us tonight. You have Zahid Hassan Dipu, Ashraful Alam, and I hope I'm saying that properly, because I don't like to mess up people's names, as you all know. Kinjon Saha, Shashank, Shritza. So if you could highlight the wonderful success stories of your algorithm learners, we'd love to hear it. Thank you, Siam.
Sure, 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 sure. I'm thinking, where do I start? Because every person I meet in Algorizin I know their stories, and everyone is fascinating. So we have to take this offline in a way that like everyone can check out the website. But I would say, like, from the first cohort, like some like so essentially uh, we had I'll probably cover from one from each country, like maybe that's like maybe I'll be, because these are giving me new dynamics or new viewpoints. So we had one girl, her name is
Absolutely.
Okechi. She is from Nigeria originally, and then I remember that she was a member of our first boot camp, like first cohort, and essentially, I was actually kind of traveling also, almost digital nomading like you, and I remember that she graduated from Syracuse University in New York, and she was really like
Woo!
tough situation of, like, with all these OPT and all these things, and I took the call also in a very bad Wi-Fi kind of situation. And I
Don't make fun
remember,
of me now, okay?
no, 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 no. I'm just genuinely saying that these are real
Of
life
course.
things. And I remember her story. She joined in, and then within 6 months, now she is working in Intuit, one of the largest, like fintech, TurboTax, all these are Intuit. So um, someone I know Okichi's story, like someone coming from Nigeria and essentially being a Nigerian woman and landing a job in a company like Intuit while being an immigrant. This is like amazing, because I have seen all these stories like individually as a growth. Like, these are not only students landing job for me, but these are actual human beings whose stories I personally know in depth.
Yes.
So, and then I don't know how much I can share, but Kinjun last year, he joined the boot camp and had a very tough news within just 1 week of joining the boot camp. Someone in his family like passed away in his back home, and
Yes.
then he was emotionally crushed completely. And we tried to, as a community, we tried to really try to genuinely be there as elder brothers or sisters, or however you call them.
Mhm.
And Kinjun, I mean, so that's the entry point for me in Kinjun. And
Mhm.
then within 6 months, he not only landed a job, like a great job, but he's also like coming to our sessions and helping all the other people that, hey, you should do this, do this, do this for interviews. He's just like giving tips to the other students. I'm like, what happened to Kinjun? Like, in 6 months, like from
Mhm.
here to here.
Yeah.
um, I can go with stories after stories. Every candidate we have is amazing, and I feel personally incredibly lucky that I am standing in this existential point of their life where they're struggling, and I can see the rise, like in a
Yes,
very
you're
short
that
amount,
inflection point,
the
and you're
inflection point.
seeing, yes, you're seeing the trajectory, and that is exactly what we want to highlight on
Mhm.
the founder series here, Talking Tech with Ty. We want to talk with founders about their programs that are making an immediate impact, a long term sustainable impact, and helping people transition, transform their lives personally and professionally. And on that note, we're almost coming to time. But what I'd like to say is that for those of you interested, thanks to everyone in the audience, for those of you interested, the next Algorizin cohort is starting on March 21st. So please apply at https://algorithm.com. I'll also throw it in the chat below. Look at me. I like to do that. I like to think that I'm a YouTuber. I'll throw it in the chat below. But please do. If you are not in a position right now where you would apply for this program, please share this information, reshare this post, reshare this link with someone else that would be interested and would benefit from this community, and or someone that maybe want to add to this community as a mentor or as a lawyer in the lawyer network, as someone that is helping with the overall immigrant transition. And please do reach out to Siam here on LinkedIn. Please, as always, be courteous when you reach out. Please be respectful. Please be mindful that he is running a full-time business that is impacting, his learners' lives. So he may not be as responsive right away, but he answers me though. No, I'm just like, I'm just like, I had to throw that in because you are responsive, but your time. So please, when you reach out, and as we come to the end of this founder series, chat, Siam, please share with us anything upcoming or anything you'd like the audience to know, because it's been great having you here. Like, thank you so much for sharing your story and the story of your learners and algorithm. Please.
Hmm. I would not, but yeah, I think like you, like, thank you for like giving us this kind of like opportunity to speak. And I would like to just focus on one thing is that this is such an like we have 200,000 new international students graduating every year from US schools, and I'm not even talking about like all the other immigrants, just
Yes.
international students.
Yes.
Um, we have only helped until now 40 students. It's very low. Like 40 to 200,000 is a long way to go. But
Mm-hmm.
if anyone wants to help us in any way and needs help from us in any way, doesn't have to go through the boot camp cohort. Like, no need to worry too much on the like like how do we get engaged, but eventually we want to help everyone. That's basically the goal. So anyone who wants to help us, again, as you said, as a lawyer, as a career counselor, as a technology mentor, as a student, as a volunteer, I don't know,
As an
anyway.
employer,
Yeah,
anyway,
as an
please
employer,
reach out.
correct, as an employer, in any way you think of, because you can do it as an employer or do it alone, please reach out. That's basically all. And I want to be partnering with everyone in this field, so that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And I just want to highlight before we go, Aman responded earlier, and I really do thank him for highlighting this. Leaving your comfort zone in your native country and trying to build your ecosystem in a different country is a very hard and courageous that it is. Also, once again, shout out to Okechi and Kinjun. We are so proud of you, and we're so proud of the contributions you're making to the community to continue to help others that are coming after you. And then one more comment from Sanjeev. Every word of Mentor Siam inspires me. Proud to be a part of this community. I'm proud to highlight this community. And as we get ready to finish up Talking Tech with Ty, I want to take a moment to kind of do something I haven't done before. And my uncle recently passed away, and I found out today. So, all the loss that we've been talking about, this is a part of life, which is why it's always grateful. I'm always grateful to highlight community. And I found out earlier today, so I want to dedicate this Talking Tech with Ty in the Founder Series to all the people that we have lost but have inspired us and enriched our lives. And my Uncle Boney was that for me. So I want to shout out my Uncle Boney, and I want to send out love, light, and blessings to all the people that we've collectively lost who've inspired us. That being said, thank you so very much, everyone, for being here for another Talking Tech with Ty. And we'll see you next week. And Siam, thank you for your time. And to everyone in the audience who is from Algorithm, hey, y'all, hey, keep chatting. We're going to talk to you, all right?
Thank
Take
you.
care and bye bye, everyone.
Bye.